1 2 1 2. Let's check our mics. Yay! 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Hey! Got it, I got it. Actually, not today. Today we're not recording. Not really, but thank you. It's pretty old. It was cheap. What's her name? you're not. Here we go. 2 blocks, 1 positive attitude. An idea that with if you spend a little bit of your life, you'll actually feel better. And if that's fundamentally true as a possibility for you, then you're not wasting your time here. That makes sense? Don't just be positive. You can scoot over a little bit, close to the door. To the door. To the door. There you go, and you can scoot this way. Oh, I know, exactly. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Here we go. This is my left foot. See it stretch? Welcome, by the way. You made it. It wasn't foretold. Could have been a train. All kinds of things. So I have my left heel on the floor. My left leg is straight. My body is trying to shift forward and over that front foot. Now you can balance a little bit better, and you might feel a better stretch if you bend the left knee. And go ahead and try it. You might notice that the stretch goes lower. More like almost a pure Achilles tendon stretch. That's a deeper muscle called soleus. Let's straighten the left leg and shift your left hip forwarder. Not your knee, your hip. And maybe you can start to get weight off this back foot. If you see some of your neighbors pick the back foot up, that's because they're awesome. That's all. Did you guys pick your competitor? Did you guys choose who you're up against? Did you do that? I apologize. I forgot to mention that. Come, quick. Beautiful. Now, I'm going to keep my weight on this front foot. Shift your weight to the pinky toe side and the big toe side. Notice I'm actually not moving my body. I'm not turning my hips. There is a result in my leg, and you can have some of this happen from the knee, from the hip. That's fine. But can you actually begin to feel work in the foot, in the shin, in the meat that articulates the foot? Last breath. This is my favorite part. Scary, I know, but step off of your mat and wander about the room. And if you keep your head up, you may make a friend. Yeah, it's terrifying, I know. Isn't it weird? It's so weird. It's this commons area. You guys are working on a pace line. Very good, very good. Oh, remaining on the mat. You can be scaredy cats. Cool. It's cool. This is a safe place to be a scaredy cat. I'm not judging you for being weak and afraid. Okay, this is my second foot. Left foot feels different, yeah? It's like it's awake. Anybody's right foot feel boring? Yeah, that's your whole body. It's called normal. It's like sort of dead. Mostly dead. Here we go. So the front leg is straight. The front heel is down. The chest is up. It's sort of weird to have all these loud sensations and not look at your foot. We're such visual creatures. You want to look at the thing that's torturing you. So instead, can you push the head up a little bit higher, like be taller, and then let the sensations in. In other words, there's this signal getting sent up your leg, exploding into your consciousness, hopefully. And typically your brain is extraordinarily good at blocking it. It's like, nope, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, I'm good. You're actually excellent at that. Whatever you're looking at, just look, don't move your eyes around, just look at it, and notice that about 15% of your vision right now in both eyes is your nose. Close one eye. See that big honker there? Look at that giant thing. It's huge. That's a big percentage of your vision. But what your brain does is it literally sews your two eyeballs signals together and deletes the nose. Your brain is mostly deleting data. Can you begin to shift the weight towards one side and then the other, the inside and outside? These are your principal muscles of stabilization through balance. The meat that pushes your foot left and right, pronation and supination, are your balancing meat. And it's not gastroc primarily, although lateral and medial gastroc support this. These are smaller muscles. And can you begin to wake them up? How much weight can you get off of the back foot, onto the front foot? Green! Purple! What's going on here? Formerly dark purple, darker purple. I like it. Does match your pants at some point? Why do I have a memory of that? Please stop doing what you're doing and walk around. But this time, whichever direction you walked last time, walk the other way. Ah, yeah, there you go. Anybody notice? We got a backwards walker. Very good. Taking it literally. Good at Mensa tests. Very good. Walking in place. Very good. I like it. Anybody notice? Are you a counterclockwise walker or a clockwise walker? And then the real question is, does it change in the southern hemisphere? Let's take the feet wider than the mat. Here in the level 1 class, we really constrain our fanciness. This is all about simplicity. Can you actually connect to the sensations of your body? Look at your feet. And then we develop some good habits to keep ourselves safe. And if you can integrate these habits, you're actually safe in any class taught in this room. There's lots of crazy hard classes. Stuck in traffic? No worries. Go get a cappuccino and show up at 7:30. You'll like me less, and you'll have more fun. You know, from my perspective, I'm the same person. I tell the same number of jokes, but you guys have less fun. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. So my legs are straight, feet perfectly parallel to one another, and the edges of the mat. I shift the hips left and right. My legs are straight. And as my hips shift to one side, the hip that drops, the trailing hip, you can feel that on the other thigh, can't you? There's something going on. So as my hips go to the left, my right inner thigh is getting a little stretched. Yes, no, maybe? Something's going on. Now, I could let my upper body go in opposition. See if you can keep your chest sort of static, sort of stationary, same spot. All right, I bend the knees. When you sink your hips, bend your knees, your feet are going to want to turn out. And that's just a symptom of how tight your hips are. So instead, I have a little bit of a tension here on keeping my feet. If you were wearing skis, this would be French fry. Thank you very much. So you know French fry, and you know pizza pie, and you know you're going to die. That's right, you're going to die. So there's French fry, pizza pie, and you're going to die. We want to avoid you're going to die. As a rule that we will absolutely begin to create variations on as we open the hips. But until then, this is a pretty safe standard. Where your hands are, let's take the elbows. Notice my rear end is lower than the face. And I'm doing that in two ways. One, I'm lowering my butt, but I'm also lifting my chest. As a loving reminder, this is not lifting your chest. That's your face. So the chest, my face is going up because my chest is going up. It's sort of attached. Now this is kind of nice. The first few moments you feel safe. You're just wondering what the next instruction is. Maybe you're still thinking about your plans for tonight or tomorrow. But just wait. The pose will present itself. It will blossom. And you know what that flower will become? A fruit. You know what that fruit will do? Tastes super duper good. Super tasty fruit. The fruit of the pose. You ever get started on the pathway of an analogy and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this one. My weight is slightly back. Feet parallel. Look, they're turning out. Isn't that amazing? Now, if you shift your weight forward, everybody try that. Shift your weight way forward. You can feel your toes grip. Anybody feel calves? Yeah, totally. Totally. Now shift your weight back like you're about to sit down on a chair. Is anybody starting to notice? There's this little voice that's starting to present itself. It's the longer you stay here, the more in your first language it'll be. I'm not just hanging out. We're up. And then back. Back. Oh, it's better. So much better. It's a lot of weight on your arms. Just give your arms a break. Just relax your arms as you arch the chest up. Sometimes you just have to make sound effects. It's okay. Just breathe. Yeah. I'd like you to imagine what it would be like to pick one foot up. Just what it might feel like. Just breathe. Just breathe. Your butt's going up. My butt's not. Look at my butt. I have 4 children. I do not respond to nasty faces. Hips just a little higher than these. So we're actually trying to create a very particular kind of inefficiency I have all my 90-year-olds do this. And normally that shames everybody in being a little quieter. It's kind of funny. Hands above the knees, you straighten the arms. Yay! Feel under your hands. Are your legs cold? Isn't that interesting? They're warm. Yeah. Now winter's over. It was over in January, but air conditioning is still here. In your office, it's 52 degrees. You decide you're going to write at Catalina Coffee and it's 53 degrees for some reason. Why? Just stand there in public, just like this. You'll warm up. All right, now we're going to stand up, no passing out. So one of the strategies for dealing with lightheadedness is a little tick-tock. I'm not crunching the back of my neck. And we stand up. Don't look up, look straight forward, and then tick-tock your head and upper body. Slow. You still get lightheaded, bend the knees, take your head down below your heart. It's not a big deal. We just need to be responsible for it. Flexing at the hips, and then taking your head up and down will make you lightheaded. Often. Okay, so the legs are warm, yes? Isn't that nice? Simple. Let's get both blocks. And we'll come into our knees forward squat. So I hold my blocks like so. My feet are parallel and more or less butt width, very parallel. I bend the knees, and I come into a little squatty squat. Now, if I have pain in the joint, you're making a facial expression, your face is turning red, you put your knees on the floor. This is what you look like. I spent more than 2 of the last 15 years unable to be in a pose like this. I have tears to all 4 menisci, strains to both ACLs and MCLs. You're in the pose, which is why my knees work. Turns out that you ruin your knees by ignoring certain ranges of motion, and they really appreciate this. If you can put your heels on the floor, go ahead and do that. That's exactly what I would have looked like when I was putting my knees back together. My most recent knee injury was 2009. That was 2 years of being unable to straighten or bend my right knee. Every 3rd or 5th step was a sharp, excruciating pain. If you can get your heels down and your neighbor can't, this is the most important part of class. Okay, so here's... No, well, I was giving everyone space. But here's what you do. You make sure they're looking at you when you look at them. And then you make sure they see you when you look down at their feet. Now, if they don't look at you, then you do this kind of thing. It's very important. This is why we do yoga, yes? To assert our dominance over our neighbors. To win. This is called nature's chair, by the way. If you're wondering why we're doing what seems like a crazy, complex, and difficult position, all of your ancestors gave birth to all of your ancestors just like this. 70% of the human race uses the restroom just like this. You used to hang out like this. And then something happened to you. You were 5 years old. It was traumatic. You know what it's called? Kindergarten. It's called kindergarten. It's a little personal. My yucky sisters. Divorce? No! Okay, we're going to check out our forward bend. Just feel it. Push through the hands. Your knees should feel ruined. Super normal. Come up. Shift your hips left and right. Notice I'm bending my knees. If you need, you can actually take the blocks in their tallest dimension. This is called your arms are too short. You see, what'd you do to you? What's going on in your legs? See some fantastic future humpbacks. Hunchbacks. Humpbacks are obviously whales. We scooch our blocks out of the way. Let's step our feet back and caterpillar onto the floor. So feet step back, knees touch. Thighs, hips, belly. Into reading pose. Oh. Please. You're included, man. Yeah, kindergarten happened to you. And of course, what happened in kindergarten? Chairs. Do you remember how uncomfortable your butt was when you started kindergarten? You don't remember? Think back. Remember those curved plywood chairs or the plastic? You don't remember? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have you ever tried to make a 4-year-old sit in a chair through dinner? Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing there aren't more homicides. It's impossible. And then you get trained well to sit on your butt. And consider that your butt complains exactly as much as it did when you were 5 today. You just can't feel it. You're numb to it. And of course, it's the worst thing we do for ourselves, is sit in a chair. See if you can get your shoulder blades away from the ears. So there's this movement. This is not a shoulder movement. This is a scapular movement. It's a separate joint. So my shoulder blades pull down the back. And can I pull my sternum up just a little bit? Of course, this is coming a little bit from scapula. Ah, there's some stuff in the back. Oh. And then maybe, is it possible to inhale? Now, if you've been taught to breathe diaphragmatically, that's cool. That's about 1/3 of your breath. If you want to double your lung capacity, nay, triple it, we're going to have to get the ribs to move. And that's actually trained out of you in many disciplines: running, singing, biking. Let's see if we can undo that. So can you get your ribs to move as well as your belly? And then with every exhale, can I have this feeling that my spine is draping, relaxing towards the floor without letting your scapula pull up? So I keep the shoulder blades down. I keep the top of my head pushing up. I'm trying to get your abs to turn off. But Andrew, aren't I supposed to have a strong core? Of course, it's supposed to be on. It's so strong. A little louder. How's that? Yeah. To do what? Stabilize what? Your what? They are spinal muscles. There are stabilizing muscles in your gluteal stabilizing muscles? No, they move your femur. Your abdominal muscles move your spine. They're spinal muscles. They're not stabilizing muscles. That's what they do. You turn your abs on to deal with the fact that you're made of guts mostly. And your main supporting beam is on the back. And most people have zero clue how the spine works. And consider that anyone who uses the word core for sure does not know how the spine works. That's not an insult. It's just like, I'm going to listen to what they say and to be curious whether it's going to be healthy for my back. Andrew, you want me to turn my abs off, but how can that be good for my back? Because my abs are supposed to be a stabilizer. Of course. Eventually, we'll actually strengthen your abs, but we'll do it in a lengthened position. We'll put you in positions where we hang your entire body weight, and lower body weight, off of rectus abdominis. We want strong abs. That was all ab work. But consider that if you have a muscle that can't turn off, that's a dead muscle. That's your abs right now. You know why your abs are on like that? Your eyeballs. They're on the front. If you had eyeballs on the back of your head, you'd be concerned with your butt and your lower back. You'd be staring at your lower back. You'd be concerned about your lower back 20-pack. And you'd forget about your belly. I'd make you do crunches. Hands flat. Anybody feeling this in the back? Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. This is pretty intense. Let's make it worse. So wherever your hands were, we're going to glue the hands to the floor, straighten the arms. Oh, it's worse. It's worse. Isn't that nice? Are you inhaling? You ever get a second opinion from a doctor? Have you ever done that? Go get a... Yeah? It's smart, isn't it? Did you get a different opinion? Yeah, isn't that amazing? You know how much doctors pay to be doctors? So much. Ugh. You know how hard they work to become doctors? You know how hard yoga teachers work to become yoga teachers? Yeah. Yeah. You get a second opinion from your doctor, but your yoga teacher says something. You're like, okay, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's how down dog is. Your fitness trainer. Yeah. Same thing. Good. So take everything any of us say with a whole bunch of salt. I love salt. Keep your head right where it is. Hands on the waist. Don't let your head drop 1 micrometer. Why did your head get lower? Hands on the waist. That's lower. You're already getting lower. Up. Up. And then my favorite part. Did you say gourd? Gourd. Gourd. Squash. All right. Now, the same way that if somebody shines a flashlight in your eyes, you sort of can see it when you close your eyes. There's a residue, a memory of all that back work. And typically when you have sensations like this, you want to get rid of it. Don't get rid of it. Just feel it. This is a space where we actually explore sensation. We become connoisseurs of it. Like we're interested in nuance. We care about the subtlety. Okay, so what does this breath feel like? And notice that the sensation is changing, is it not? It's not this static, stuck thing. Especially if something's bad, it's not going to stay bad. If something's good, it's not going to stay good. Can you pay attention? Let's keep your upper body relaxed. You may end up playing an inadvertent footsie with your neighbor. Just work it out. Bend your knees. Check out your feet. Oh. And can you feel your hips? There you go. Some of you got the frequency down. Good thing cooties aren't a real thing. Breathe. All right, keep your knees bent, pretty please. We slide the elbows back under the shoulders one last time, reading pose. If there's one position I could give you for the health of your spine, just get on the floor. Slide your elbows under your shoulders. Call this reading pose because this is how I read. Read. Also, if I need to work with bamboo for my oboe, I'll come into this pose. Reading pose. That is an orchestra joke. Yeah, it's okay. There we go. There we go. I could have said bassoon, clarinet. Top of the head pushes up, chest arches up. It's different when your knees are bent, isn't it? Anybody feel this in their back? Isn't that crazy? It's almost as though you're not very flexible. Strange. All right, please show me the laziest push-up a human being has ever demonstrated. So you roll down slow and easy. Slide the hands flat and just, take your time. I don't want it to look cool. Okay. All right, we're going to get into our twist the sort of laziest way possible. I'm going to take my on hands and knees. I take both knees over to the left side of the mat. Left side of your mat. Still on the mat, but on the left side. And if I drop my hips onto the mat, my right hip will be down. Plop. Okay, good. Now I'm actually already in my twist, but to make it interesting, I'm going to take this top leg and just slide it back. There you go. Yeah. So I got my hands more or less under the shoulders. You might have to sort of reset. It's this right arm that's going to be doing all the work. So I straighten this right arm. I got little baby arms, so it's easier for me to be on fingertips in this left hand. Everybody's twisting to their right, pulling the right shoulder back, trying to turn the nose, and look over the right shoulder at their left foot. Are you inhaling? And notice that the breath is constrained here, isn't it? Isn't that amazing? And of course, the reasons are obvious once you distinguish it. In the same way, when you wring a wet towel, you're forcing the water out by forcing the fibers of the towel closer together. There's less space. When you twist, you're actually forcing the surface of your body in towards the center, which squashes your guts. That's the technical term. Squashes your guts. If it's a little bit of a squashing, it's a squish. And if it's super squished, it's squeesh. But we're squashing your guts, and there's nowhere for your diaphragm to go. Diaphragm, excuse me. Not in the course. All right, we'll take 2 more breaths. Everybody take a deep inhale. Keep inhaling. Open your throat even more. Still inhaling. More. Still inhaling even more. 3, 2 more. Open. And let that go. See if you can twist more. Look over your right shoulder. Now keep this new position. Start inhaling. Slow and easy. Open your throat as wide as you can. Still inhaling. Even more. 5. More. 2. Open. Yeah, you forget to breathe like that. We're actually going to come out of this the way we came in. Stack your knees. I'm going to pick my hips up. Walk the knees over to the right side of the mat. Hips come down on the mat. This should be my left hippie on the mat. With the left hip down, I slide my top leg back out of sight, and then I turn towards the front of the mat. If you need to reset your hands, walk your hands around, it's groovy. It's the left hand that's doing the work. You're twisting to the left, trying to pull your left shoulder back, trying to turn your nose to the left, trying to look over your neighbor's shoulder. And that first side was nice, and you now know it, because this side is normally secure. If you're left-hand dominant, you pitch left-handed, you kick left-footed, this will be the easier side, unless you have scoliosis. And for some of you, I just blew your mind. What? How did he know? If I just diagnosed you with scoliosis, sorry about that. now you know. Darn it. Does that mean I'm good at studying? No, that's scholastic. It's different. It's a different thing. Okay, so you inhale. Can you get your belly to open up? Can you get your chest to open up? Andrew, I have no idea what you're talking about. You keep saying words. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. You can have zero clue what I'm talking about the whole class. Class will be over soon. And the promise is when you walk out of that door, you're going to feel better. Actually, any of our doors. We have 4 of them. Quadruple the normal promise. That's actually the promise of our business. One more like that. Make it count. And actually, you don't have to understand it. It is understandable. That's what the course is for. You want to teach this stuff, you're going to need to be able to explain it. But if you're just here as a consumer, enjoy. Now, it's important because we're a little close to each other that you aim for the mat. You're not going to land completely on the mat. We call this flop exit. It's not your elbow. Don't let your left elbow touch the floor. You take your left shoulder. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that was amazing. Then you take the shoulder on the floor and you kerflop on your back. Oh, that was embarrassing. So ungraceful. And a properly executed flop exit should take at least 3 to 5 scooches to get you back centered. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Why didn't we make it here earlier? This is nice. So, you're here on the floor, and I love taking this moment to just reflect. You just have an image in your mind, if you would. Just a simple little image, and it's the receipt. Just picture the receipt, just like the line item receipt, and then the total at the bottom for how much you paid for your mattress. For some of you, I got it out of a dumpster. Andrew, I've never owned a mattress. I have a piece of plywood. But for those of you that have done what I did, where you go to gallery furniture and you say to your wife, go get you one. Pick one you like. That was not an inexpensive proposition. And if you've ever tried to chase down back health with beds, it's very unlikely you're sub 3,000. And I want you to correlate how good this floor feels right now with that number. And consider that moving your body is the thing that's been missing. And if you actually move your body, the bed is significantly less important. I'm not saying to throw out your bed. Enjoy it. But you got to do something different with your nervous system. You got to do something different with your joints. Okay. So you slide your feet flat. Make sure you're breathing. Let's slide our feet as wide as the mat, and you're going to tick-tock the knees left and right. Just want to reassure you guys that all of this stuff is rated for many, many hundreds of pounds. None of these lights will fall down on you. Just if you're concerned about that, I hung them myself. That may have actually not helped. Oh wait, my yoga teacher hung this industrial. Okay, good. I feel safer. Isn't that nice? Anybody feel the tuchus sort of massaging on the floor? If there's anything tender back there, consider that your hips are imbalanced. It's not supposed to be tender. It's the opinion of this style that there should be nothing tender in your body. Except that doesn't make sense because everything's tender in your body. Your tongue is tender. Your temples are tender. Every spot on your scalp, your biceps, your heel. And of course that's a sign of an imbalance in that joint, whatever joint those muscles articulate. Okay, so now you pick your feet up. Watch out for your neighbor's knees. You pick your feet up and you move your knees left and right as a unit. So my knees are bent, knees tick-tock left and right. And as you begin to tick-tock them, start to move them away from your body slightly. So what part of your rear end is on the floor changes as you tick-tock left and right. As it moves further away, you'll move more on the meaty sections, and as you move further up, your lower back will be downer. Okay, good. Good. Now, is anybody feeling the migratory pattern already? You're sort of migrating a little bit, aren't you? Towards the wall. Can you feel that? Okay, good. Now I want you to migrate all the way to the green line through tick-tocking. How are you going to... No, not scooch. Pick your feet up. Tick-tock your knees. And by tick-tocking your knees, how are you going to relocate your butt and body? A couple of you got it, and the rest of you... All right. You haven't moved. Some of you are moving the wrong direction. That's impressive. Okay, good. Now, if you hadn't noticed that there's a green line 18 inches off the wall, we want our rear end 18 inches off the wall. Once you get there, Dina's got it. She's like prodigy of butt relocation. Okay, good. We made it. Once your rear end is on the green line, you take your heels up the wall. You knew it was coming. This is second best yoga pose ever. Americans are so funny. You ever watch the... Yeah, so it's perfectly fine to skip the... Yeah. And then that'll be your homework assignment. If you had no idea how to move your body, try that at home. Americans are interesting. You ever seen somebody get really upset by getting the silver medal at the Olympics? Like it's the worst thing that's ever happened to them? It's the worst thing that ever happened to them is they're second best in the world. They beat 7 billion people, but that one person beat them is the end. Isn't that funny? Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. I'm sure that person is a delight to be around in other situations. So this is second best yoga pose ever. Don't be offended. Some of you are confident that this is the best, and if you just develop your own style, you could name any poses you want. You can just make up names. This is all I did. Make up poses, make up names. I want you to imagine you've been stung by a bee on your elbow. Make it a wasp. You don't want to kill any bees. They're needed. So a wasp stings you a couple times and your elbow's all swollen. How functional will your elbow be if it really gets swollen? Just full of fluid. It is embarrassing. Look how big that elbow is. It's a sight. It's going to be limited, is it not? Somehow. Okay, well what about a little injury? You tear menisci in one of your knees. How well does your knee bend? Well, what accompanies injury? Your body creates inflammation. That is an immune system response. That is a good thing. Except with inflammation comes swelling and more fluid, and there's stuff in the way. Okay, well, what if you are like my uncle, my father's youngest brother, who, while getting a routine surgery at the VA, had an allergic reaction to the general anesthetic, put on 150 pounds of water weight, and he was paralyzed by the swelling in his body. When they finally controlled the swelling, he was paraplegic for the rest of his life, which was only about 7 years. I want you to imagine how much you would have to swell to sever your spinal cord. Now that's obviously an extreme, but consider that your feet are on that spectrum all day, every day, for the simple reason that they're below your heart, and that gravity is pushing blood. Gravity and your blood pressure is pushing blood into the legs. And how is that blood getting out? The intuitive answer says blood pressure, but the moment you think about it, it's obvious it cannot possibly be blood pressure because every blood vessel in your body necks down to 1 cell width. Like a water hose that gets down to a millimeter and then opens back up, it's still, the bandwidth is still only a millimeter. You're not going to get a lot of flow after that. So how blood and lymph get pulled out of the legs is actually through an ingenious system of muscular contraction and valves in the veins to keep the blood from flowing back into the legs. And wouldn't you know it, like everything else in your body, it gets less efficient as you age. And so you have more and more stagnant venous blood. Venous blood is the deoxygenated blood with the byproducts of cellular respiration and other toxins. And so you're swelling from blood volume. And now consider why we're in this pose. It's been about 90 seconds. Let's start to wiggle your toes. Let's take your heels off the wall. Roll your ankles and see if you can feel some extra crackles and pops. And if you feel some sort of free crackles and pops, consider that your feet, the bones of your feet, i.e. your joints, are moving more because there's less stuff in the way. Remember when you were a kid? You may have done this recently. I don't recommend it, but anybody try to sit at the bottom of the pool? Like the deep end? You go all the way to the bottom. Remember that pressure? There's this feeling of pressure. That's actually a sense. You can be sensitive to pressure. Like when you get on a plane and they close the hatch, they're controlling the pressure in the cabin. Well, consider that you can actually, there is a way to feel, to become sensitive of pressure in your feet from the swelling, both from inflammation of small injuries that you have, because you all have them, and venous blood collecting. Okay, so let's take the feet flat. We're going to cross right on the wall, so sorry about that. Flat on the wall, about knee height. Let's cross the right ankle over the left knee. This is called runner's stretch. Why is it over the right knee? There you go. If you can't quite, if when you cross the right ankle over the left knee, your tailbone lifts up, it just means you're too close to the wall. So you would scooch away from the wall. As a matter of fact, with your rear end on the floor, can you arch your chest up and get your lower back up and off the floor? Anybody feel their hip more? Isn't that amazing? It's as though there's a connection between your hip and your spine. They're connected, by the way, like directly connected. They directly impact each other. Okay. No, I can use my triceps, and that actually kind of has an intuitive appeal because I want to get the knee to move, but unfortunately your hip is more powerful than your knee is strong in this lateral direction. There's actually nothing we want to open in the knee. So anyway, she's demonstrating how to ruin your knee, and I'm getting that. So knee pushing was, this is my 22nd year practicing, you see lots of stuff come and go in the zeitgeist. And knee pushing was real popular circa 2003. I know 2 teachers in town and a whole bunch of their students who ruined their knees doing that. And it turns out that if your hips are so tight you need to push it, it actually needs to come from the hip. So what do we do instead? Imagine that my hand is on the outside of your knee and you push into my hand. So we turn a passive stretch into an active stretch where the meat you're just lengthening is now engaged. How do you get your knee to push away from your body without using your triceps? And now you're connecting your brain. It's called the superior fibers of gluteus maximus. These are your abductors and external rotators. Let's take one more deep breath. Now, look how convenient that foot is. Let's grab a hold with your right hand. Right hand catches the right foot. You're going to take the right foot generally over to the right. See, as a matter of fact, see if you can get your shin vertical. See if you can get your right shin vertical. Right hand holds the right foot. Just shin vertical. There you go. Now, if your knee touches the floor, you win. But I'm curious, for those of you trying to get your knee on the floor, is your tailbone down? Is your left hip down? No. You distorted the pose to win the game. Because for you, the game is touching your knee to the floor. And my game here in this room is actually opening your body, connecting to sensation, and walking out of this room more adept at controlling and feeling you. Whatever you feel about what happens after you die, there is one thing for sure. Let's shake those legs out. Feel the difference in your legs. The one thing we know for sure is that this thing you got right now, this thing, your body, that's for a limited time only. This is your shot. Left over right, pretty please. There's an Apache helicopter out there. That's always a good sign. We don't live in a military state. No way. Take your foot on the wall, brother. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. You got it. You have intuited exactly my instruction. If you ever get sleepy in a yoga class, please doze. Don't hang on to look good. If you start snoring, you'll wake up eventually. Maybe our laughs at you will wake you up. Fear not. But consider that if you've ever been in a yoga class and you're just consumed by a wave of sleepiness, what you're feeling is your stress response finally turning off, maybe for the first time this year. Do not ignore it. Just like a surfer on a wave, go with it. Enjoy it. Let's arch the chest up, lower back off the floor. The left knee pushes generally away from the chest towards the wall. If you can't get any movement, make this your homework project. And consider that the closer your knee is to your face, this is why you've been having hip issues. You get out of your car and it's all creaky. You try to get out of bed and you're prematurely 30 years too old. So this is one of your daily practices. Left hand catches that left foot. Left shin generally goes to the left. Let's have the shin verticalish. If you can't quite catch the foot, what I like to do is I like to think over and over again, just sort of chanting it in my head. What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Loving reminder, we have green towels for those of you that sweat. Bring your own towel is our recommendation. Don't clean your mat with the green towels. We got these little fingertip towels for you guys to clean. If you've ever seen a towel folded neatly in a basket, you know what that is, right? You guys know what that is. That is my wife's love for you. She carries the towels to the house, she washes them, she dries them, she folds them, she brings them here, and she puts them in the basket with love. Anyway, I just want you to feel that. Oh, she loves me. She does. We shake the legs out. You know, I never wanted a studio. I don't want a studio. It's a lot of work. You know why there's a studio? My wife, 100%. Next time you see her, give her a high five. She's great. She's my favorite. Let's scooch all the way away from the wall. Still lying on our back, pretty please. Scooch, scooch, scooch. It's good. It's good, good, good. It's like a baby with no arms. Sorry, I don't know why that's a funny image, but okay. A swaddled baby, how's that? Okay, now you're lying flat again, and here's the test. Wiggle your toes. Anybody feel like there's more stuff in your feet? They feel swollen, or don't they? And if you can't feel it, consider that you are not connected to your feet. You're insensitive. Like you can't quite tell the difference. It's okay. Like when somebody slides you 2 glasses of wine and you're like, red? Are they red? And then one last time, we roll onto our belly, reading pose. I'm going to give you one more opportunity to see if you can be savvy enough to feel this sensation in your feet. So one more time, elbows under the shoulders, shoulder blades away from the ears, chest pushes up, bend your knees. And see if you can feel the blood draining out of your feet. Roll your ankles. Spread your toes. Now I've set you up where you can't see your toes. And this is actually a good thing. I want you to see if you can do this by feel. Number 1. Can you just wiggle your big toe? Just your big toe. I see some of you moving everything but the big toe. Cool. Okay, now just move the flipper. Now the big toe holds perfectly still, but the other 4 toes move. Now just the pinky toe. Some of you are moving your face. Pinky toes down there. Some of you are thoroughly connected that it's just vestigial. It's barely hanging on. In a few more generations, it will fuse in. Okay. Now the most important thing we can do for the feet, obviously spreading your toes. You want to, if your feet are in shoes, you want to Hulk smash the toe box of your shoes. You're trying to open up the end of your shoes. I want you to have inadvertent sandals with every pair of shoes you have. You blow them out. Okay. With that said, so this width thing is important, but there's also a movement we can do. Now, I'm going to push my big toe towards the ceiling and pull the flipper back. And now I'm going to push the flipper towards the ceiling, pull my big toe back. So can I, between my big toe and my index toe, I'm coming into front splits? Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea what's happening. Just do some stuff. Just do some stuff. Exactly, you can't see it. There's no visual feedback. Just do some stuff with your toes. And then this is your little homework assignment. Now consider this is how you pick your underwear up off the floor. Or if you wear socks, socks. You want to pinch passers-by? This is how you do it. You want to impress somebody? This is, you want prehensile toes, this is it. Now roll your ankles one last time. They should feel a little freer. If your feet cramped, that's okay. Also normal. We're going to count to standing, and I want you to see if you can feel the blood rush back into your feet. Slow and easy, no hurry. You can come up in stages for those of you that ever do get lightheaded. Once you stand up, if you notice you're getting lightheaded, don't pretend. Tick-tock your head first of all. If it's still an issue, you bend the knees, you get your head down below the heart. There are two other protocols we have, but had I started tick-tocking my head when I was 10 years old, I could have skipped more than a decade of being lightheaded. This is a very important protocol. And so one of the things that we don't do is rotate. So if you look at me, Keith, just perfect tick-tock, no rotation. There you go. And nobody wants to perfectly side flex, because when you side flex, you're actually up against all the crap of your week. Anybody walk around like this? Ah! Ah! A train! I-10! Anybody have to ever take 610? Anybody take 610? Bus lane! Ah! Yeah. And you walk around like this, and you want, somebody says, "Are you okay?" Like, what? What are you talking about? I'm fine. Are you stressed? Ah! How can you tell? Okay, so I want you to imagine I'm standing behind you. I've caught you by your skull. We're going to pull your head up. We have two more things to do, but first, can you be taller? Now, you can think about pushing your forehead forward. Everybody try that? But then you look hoity-toity, sort of looking down your nose. I can also tuck my chin and reach the back of my head up. But then you have a double chin, and then that's embarrassing. So, I want you to imagine that you have a Cirque du Soleil one-arm handstander balancing on your head. Just like that. And now you push the... don't tip your head forward or back. You're going to not let that Cirque du Soleil handstander fall off. Don't let him die. That's number one. See if you can get your elbows behind the back. If you can't quite catch your elbows, pull the shoulder blades down. Tick-tock your head. Ooh, doggy. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, yeah dead. Aww. It's okay. Thank you for caring. It's really sweet. It's a scuba weight, by the way. It's a fantastic tool. Now, for you to catch your elbows, there's a space created where your arms were and your spine wasn't. That's the setup. Palm face out. Yeah, good. Wrist reach apart. Now take your arms by your side. Try to point your fingers to the floor. Try to point your thumbs back. Arms are straight. Now try to squeeze your arms into the body. Try to touch your thumbs to your hips. Are you inhaling? Now, reach your arms to the floor. Can your arms reaching to the floor actually pull your scapula away from the ears? And we're going to slowly, slowly tick-tock the head. Left and right. Oh. Any sensation? Any sensation down the arm? Yeah, that's not supposed to be like that. All right, now step away from the wall so you can't hit anything. Let's check in. What do we do to our arms? Isn't that nice? Any blood flow? Yeah, we actually just decompress the nerves and blood vessels that feed your arms. 2 for the road. I take my right hand like so on the wall. My right arm is perpendicular to the wall. Yeah, your wall. Now if you look at your hand, the fingers point to the right, and turn your feet now away from your arm till you get a bit of a stretch there in the chest. Nothing fancy. Now chances are you have put primacy on how far you can get your feet rather than on what location your scapula is. So if I actually let my scapula go up, I can keep going. And it's kind of cool. You can just keep going all the way around. It's like, oh wow, I won. Did I win? Did I win? So instead, I'm actually going to see how far down I can get my scapula. And you're going to have this feeling like, oh, this is like I am not turning as much as I'd like. Anybody feel the stretch go down their arm? In your elbows, forearms, any other body into the fingertips? Now consider that if you did this every day the rest of your life, it would feel just like this. Every day, all day, your fingers are flexed, your wrists are flexed, your elbows are flexed, your shoulders are flexed. Everything is short on the front line of your arms. You train this for 168 hours a week, unless you have a 7 days a week yoga commitment. Anybody practice an hour 7 days a week? Because if you do, yeah, 4 or 5 hours 7 days a week, yeah. Why is your shoulder so high? There you go. Yeah, my apologies. For those of you that aren't engaged in the profession of teaching yoga, so I teach 50 classes a week. I teach about 2,300 classes a year. That's more yoga than every student I teach their lifetime total. I teach more in a year than all my students have done in their life. That's not you. But let's say you're committed 7 days a week, 1 hour. Oh, wouldn't that be amazing? You wake up in the morning, hour practice. That's still 161 hours of not yoga a week. This is going to be tight. Now here's my favorite part. You step away from the wall, swing your arms. Yeah, that's about right. Swing arms, both arms, and compare. Taste test. Anybody have a long arm? Isn't that nice? You have a go-go gadget arm. If you need to get something down from the high cupboard, maybe high-five a basketball player. Okay, second side. Left hand flat, shoulder blade down, turn the feet. And what I like to do is turn my left finger so they point to the left, and that actually puts the meat of the forearm in line, in the way of the stretch. There are lots of ways to set these stretches up. 22 years of experimenting, there's lots of variations. Don't get caught up on trying to do it right or doing it all the ways you can do it. There's no one way, and there's no one way to create variations. You just explore, just play. In general, I recommend having the elbow straight so we actually get the big superficial muscles of your wrists, and then that'll make your eye twitch a little bit. So can you now articulate the scapula down and away from the ears? And inhale. Imagine you only had a left lung. You only had the 2 lobes on the left side. Can you expand? Open that whole left side up. Smooth. Smooth, deep inhales. And my favorite part. Step away from the wall. Don't whack your fingers. Swing the arms, tick-tock the head, crackle crunch. Ooh. And then last one for the road. Anybody's fingers? I'm going to catch the back of the head. First, scapula down and away from the ears. Arch the chest up, and we'll squeeze the elbows narrow, because most of you want a chicken wing, so we don't do any chicken wing. Elbows narrow. Now reach your elbows up, arch up. I'm going to take one elbow a little higher. Oh, you stretch that side. And then you switch back and forth. Open, open, open. Smooth. Sorry about that, everybody. I put it on mute. We'll know better next time. 1, 2, 1, 2. Ah. Oh, there you are. You want money? Let me get some money. Bam! Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, you look lighter. Hell yeah. Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Well, yeah, that's what I could hear. But, you know, anytime you're disempowered like that, there's something. You bought into some BS about it. We get myopic and we can't see. It's whatever tool you want to use, whether you got a racket or no power, right? There's something there. Always something there. Always. Yeah. Hey, man. Uh-uh. Good. Bye. edges sort of, I mean, you might see your foot sort of here. They're all doomed. Everybody. Don't you hate it when you get stuck? You just get stuck in a handstand. Isn't that amazing? It's so annoying when that happens. I can't get to the wall. It's perfectly balanced. Don't you know? Don't you know? Welcome, you made it. This is my left foot. If this very first pose is too hard for you, get out. Or get rid of the block. It's all good. You can do the thing without the block. This is just silly. It's just... Some of you are feeling blocked right now. What's going on, brother? Life is good? Yeah, good. I was hoping that's why I didn't see you. Life is so great. That's right. It's Tai Chi. Well, I just might as well have the block. Good. Right knee to the right, pretty please. Hey, look at this. An evening with Robert Bustani. I took that picture. He's twinkling somebody's toes. 2-hour conversation with my teacher. It occurred to me that of all the people in the city of Houston that he hasn't dated that still hang around with him, I know him the best. So I did 4-year-long teacher trainings with him. I taught his teacher training for 2 years. And, you know, spent many a night at his Austin property. And we're going to have a nice conversation. And for those of you that can't make it, we'll be live streaming it. We'll also be recording it for the podcast. Woo! We'll be collecting donations for a cool charity, but it'll be free. And I will focus on balancing. We shake it out. Actually, I'm going to promote the other event on the other foot. So you feel the difference between your 2 feet? There's some stuff going on there. Okay, good. Now you stand on that left foot without the block. Hips go back, chest arches up. My standing knee stays straight. This is the same foot. If you feel fresh all of a sudden, you're on the wrong foot. I'm going to go straight to the circular movement. My hips go over to the right. Upper body goes to the left. I never go vertical. Now my hips go forward. Upper body goes back. I stay away from vertical as the hips go to the left. Upper body goes to the right. Make sure you're inhaling. I hear some nice constrained blood pressure increasing to the brain. Exhales. The butt goes back. I lean forward. Go the other direction. Hips go out to the left. Upper body to the right. Hips go forward. Upper body goes back. Hips go right. Upper body goes left. I like all the adjustments people do when they come out. Butt goes back. Everybody goes forward. Good, good, good. Come straight to center. Now I go left and right. Anybody having ankle sensations? Yeah. Don't kick the floor. Don't kick your neighbor. This is my right leg swinging. See if you can coordinate your arms swinging with your leg in the natural way. You can also have your legs hanging limp by your side. Don't kick the floor with your heel or your toes. Some of you are going for robot arms. That's cool. One of the things we're actually trying to time is when your leg hits the apogee of its swing, when at the highest point, the acme of its swing, bang, can that also be the top of the arm swing? Can they actually stop at the same time on both ends of the swing? You were thinking about it too. That's good. I'm hopping on the front swing. How cool is that? This looks neat. You having some trouble with balance? If you've recently broken your ankle, don't break it again. And you might not be able to jump. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just frail. Good. Good, good, good. Now, question. Is there a difference between your feet? What's it like to hold your breath? This. Feels just like this. There's a flavor to it. Make sure you're on a fresh new edge. This is my right foot. Now the best part of being in this position is how not on your left foot you're standing. Can you actually let your left foot sort of dangle? Don't fall. Don't fall. Okay, so a practical definition of balancing is not falling. But I understand human brains have difficulty with negations. And so when I say not falling, you then fall because you're focusing on the action. So let me make it actionable. You have this surface area created between the bridge of your foot and your heel. Keep your pelvis over that spot on the floor. The left knee goes to the left, upper body goes to the right. Can you still keep your pelvis, the center of your pelvis, over the standing foot? That's the image. Can I control my pelvis with the wiggling of the foot? Smooth, deep inhales. So my upper body's leaning, the pelvis is actually articulated. There you go. Last breath. Let me shake it out, no problem. Do you feel the difference? There's some difference in the feet. Not as much as there's going to be. But you now know that. So you're holding your breath in anticipation. It's super easy to hijack your brain. Super easy. And so the question isn't, can you never be hijacked by your amygdala, your stress response? Can you never get distracted? You're going to get distracted. The question is, how quickly can you come back? How quickly can you catch yourself noticing that you're thinking about the Mueller report? You're just thinking about it. Now, that's what I'm saying. You're now thinking about it. And that sort of deep pit in your heart. You're getting distracted by it. It's making you a little unstable. Isn't that interesting? Some of you are trying not to think about the Mueller report. You're thinking about not the Mueller report, but then, is it on paper? Is it on computer? Are there typewriters involved? You start to get. How do you redact it? Is it like the opposite of a highlighter? It's just like a. Yeah. How many Sharpies will it take to get to the heart of the Mueller report? So we're going to keep the standing leg straight. We tip our pelvis back as our upper body goes forward. Pelvis back, upper body forward. we're not going to let ourselves go to vertical. Hips go out. Hips go to the left, upper body falls out. To the right, hips go forward as the upper body falls back. See if you can just play on the edge of the range of motion as your hips go to the right, upper body to the left. And swing your tuchus around like a wrecking ball. The butt goes back. Hips go out. Now you're singing Miley Cyrus. Hips go forward. Hips go out. In this case, in. My apologies. Upper body goes out. Sorry for being consistent. Good. We come back to center. Now I'm going to tick-tock my upper body left and right. So my hips are actually going left and right. My upper body's having to adjust in opposition. How can you control this? And of course I have to time this opposition. Standing leg nice and straight. We want to make the foot do the work. The foot do the work. Good, good. Oh, it's cooked. It's cooking. I understand that. Last breath. Don't touch the left foot to the floor. We swing. And can I coordinate? Let's not use momentum to start. I'm actually going to play. I'm going to control the swing of the leg and feel the balance. Some of you are only using momentum. Everybody lift your left leg up. Hold it there. This is what not momentum feels like. Now can you coordinate where the arms are? The leg stays up. Now kick it back. Keep it up. Don't let it move. Which way are your arms going? Now anyone... Oh, the other way. Other way. There you go. Anybody distort their body? Yeah. Just arch up. And now take the leg forward. Arch up. Don't distort the body. And you can actually... That's robot arms there. There you go. I switched my leg. I was wondering why that was feeling fresh. It's like, this is easy. What are you guys complaining about? Little hop on the front swing. Don't land on your block, please. The verticality you are training and not distorting the position will actually help you when you start jumping, because there is a kind of efficiency we're after. Smooth, deep inhales. That was robot arms. That's why that felt weird. There you go. Okay, good. Good, good. Anybody sore from all the jumping these last few weeks? Shins, calves, ankles? Isn't that amazing? Totally. It's like, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, good. Just checking. I mean, I'm not going to change what I teach. So this is the non-jump jump. We are training good technique. And what we're really trying to time are two things. When my butt goes the lowest, my arms are at the top of their backswing. Right? They can only swing so far. They stop. And then as I jump up, I time that perfectly, that I'm at the top of my tippy toes when my arms are vertical. Can I time that? So I'm lifting my heels. Heels up. Choo. You're lifting early. It's all timed. You're at the very tippiest and the tallest at the same moment. And that's actually going to create some coordination. And can you hit the bottom at the same time? Your butt goes down. Some of you are only folding at your hips. Make sure your knees bend, and then, okay, good. You do enough of these in the park, you'll look weird and people think you're crazy. And your heart rate will get up. And your jumping technique will improve. But we're going to jump. Make sure you can't, there's no block near you. Mr. Brandon, yes, kick your blocks out of the way for a two-legged jump. We're going to start with just a barely jump. I want to feel that the energy of my arms is actually doing quite a bit of the movement. Now, if your elbows bend, what you're doing is you're doing a truncated jump. You're doing this. This is, if you ever wonder why girlies, there's a girly jump, this is idea of throwing like a girl, this idea of jumping like a girl. No, anybody can jump like that. And here's how you look like that. You're staying close. There's reasons. You would have your arms by your body. Let your arms swing. Everybody swing your arms. And if my arms stay straight, there's energy here. There's a lot of energy in your arms swinging through the air. Now we go for a high jump. Nobody breaks an ankle. Soft touch, you jump as high as you can. It's getting better. I like it. It's like you're throwing glitter. Nice. Nice. I'm going to put you here. This will be your spot. Now you're getting credit. Yeah. You ever have this feeling that your yoga teacher forgot about you? Okay. Anybody want to give it a shot? Yeah? See if you still got it. Brandon? You got it. Boing! Boing! Look at that. Very nice. Today's the day? Brandon? We're touching. It's like 9'6". 2-foot jump. 2-foot jump, 2 hands, 2 feet. Boing. Good. Well, why are you not jumping? Because you can see this. You can see that. That's a far away distance, yes? That's why you're not queuing up. Now when Brandon does it, take your arm out. Okay, what are you laughing at? What are you laughing? Okay, exactly. So he does not have as far to go. And so when I do it, you should be really impressed. Except he got basically his whole hand on, and he barely jumped. Okay, so that vertical jump, we're going to translate that to other things here in a moment, but let's go ahead and, now that the legs are warm, feet are parallel. If your heels don't stay down, you look just like this. It's okay. Don't be ashamed unless you're motivated by shame from a lifetime of shaming yourself. If I said that while I was looking at you, it was intentional. I'm talking directly to you and your upbringing. Who indeed? Can you recover? Can you calm down? We use the. I hear these exhales, and of course your exhales sound the way they do, either because you're constraining at your throat, so ujjayi, or you're constraining at your nose, or you're constraining in your mouth. If you want a constrained exhale and you want a constrained inhale, have you considered a trach? Have you considered a trach? You should try that. It's super yogic. Just every inhale will be a hissing breath. Just breathe through a 2-millimeter tube in your throat. And if the idea of having a trach for the rest of your life horrifies you, you should be horrified. Open your throat. Slow down your breaths. If I hear your exhale, you are closing your epiglottis. You are practicing having a collapsed throat. Open your throat. You have musculature that opens your throat. When you get older, that musculature will be the weakest it ever is. We're setting ourselves up to not have throat issues. Let's pick your butt up 1 inch, of course. Open your throat and breathe. However low your butt is, it's now 1 inch higher. In my mind, I heard you say, golly. Golly gee. Shish kebabs. Another inch, 2 inches now, of course. Remember, if any part of the course is any part of the class is too hard for you, that's about right. That's how it's designed. Another inch, 3 inches. I'm just waiting for everybody to fail. And so really you're just putting off the inevitable the longer you stay in the pose. A better strategy is to come out early. and then wait for everybody else to fail. And that's sort of like you're getting the least amount for your yoga dollar. It's kind of exciting. Good. There's your knees. Look at your knees and take your hips to knee height. Everybody look at me. There you go. A little bit lower, Brandon. A little bit lower, like 2 inches. There you go. Hips back. Just to get a little bit of weight back. A little lower. A little lower. Knees apart. Really press your knees apart. Look at me. Go. Come on, Ruth. Get your butt down there. Hands out, butt back. If you can't balance a tray of sandwiches, a little plate, a little paper plate, a little styrofoam plate of sandwiches on your quads, your butt's too high. Good. We check out our forward bend. There is a live mic right near your face, especially if you work for me. Let's see if you can get your pinkies off the edge of the mat. We have more to do for the legs. But check it out. Shake it out. Now, you guys are trying to escape this Tuesday, but I haven't forgotten. Let's turn this left foot in. I pick the right foot. Is today Tuesday? No, today's Thursday. Yeah. Yeah, we were here Tuesday. It's all the same. It's all the same. So my left foot is turned in, so I'm pigeon-toed, so you can see the line of my mat clearly. And I'm going to take my right knee low. I'm actually going to try to get my right knee lower than my left knee, which means the right side of my pelvis is lower than the left side of my pelvis with this pigeon-toedness. You ever wonder what a pigeon-toed looked like? It's a weird amphibian. Okay, so I'm going to keep this left foot turned in. I bend the right knee. And this is actually going to help you get the hip higher. I take my right hip high, I take the right knee high, dog at a fire hydrant. What you want to do is take your right knee back. No, no, no. Straight out to the right. Pointing straight over to the right. Michelle, right over to the right. Straight. There you go. There we go. Beautiful. Most excellent. Straight over to the right. Ah, there we go. If you're not making a sound effect, your knee's back. You hear that? That's the sound effect. And now notice that there's a right hip piece to this, but there's also there's a free leg hip, the right hip, but there's also the left side of the pelvis is doing a lot of the work too. Anybody feel that? Brittany, your knee is so low. So low. So low. Look at that. It was in you all along. I believe in you. Okay, good. Good, good, good. Now you get to straighten that left foot out. Still on the left foot. So now my left foot's perfectly in line with the length of the mat. I'm going to take my right knee out to the right and then straighten the leg. Straight out to the right. There's your right, and then there's not your right. Some of you are going back. Your back is too far back. Go forward, dare I say, righter. And can you get your right leg higher than your pelvis? I know the answer to that question. Any plans for the weekend? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I turn this right foot in. Don't touch your knees down. Sheesh. It's lame. Are any of you hard on yourself when you touch your knees down? Now, some of you are hard on yourselves, but you're so hardcore that you do the opposite of being hard on yourselves. You make it too okay. You realize that you're hating yourself, so then you like overdo it the other direction. I think you should hate yourself just a little bit. just an appropriate amount. So you keep your knees off the floor. And of course, if you touch your knees down, it's not a big deal. I want you to not make it a big deal, whatever actually happens. And play. We start playing. There's really nothing at stake. You're here for your health. We're playing for our future. But none of us live in the future. Asteroid tomorrow. Eat a donut. It's cool. We don't know. But in this moment, we're investing with the best knowledge we can. And that's why it's such a compliment that you guys are here. I take this left knee straight out to the left. And up. So my right foot's turned in, 45-ish. Your knee wants to go back because you're smart. We're going to keep the knee to the left. So I'm sort of pulling it in as well as reaching it up. That's sort of down, Mika. See if it will go up. There we go. See, I can see you. Hiya. Hiya is not just the sound you make when you karate chop the air. Get your knee hiya. Oh, I forgot the other event. May 11th. So, for those of you that have taken the course or are interested in taking the course, this entire style is an inquiry. We care about questions. Don't put your left foot down. I'm just going to straighten my right foot out. Bring the left knee nice and low. You can stretch out what you just worked. If your hands are too narrow or you're feeling it in the wrists, widen your hands up and crush those index knuckles and your fingertips in the floor. Left knee goes out, left leg straightens. And we've been really honored to be witness of the work of people transforming themselves and the worlds around them, both through the course and through this practice, and with this kind of inquiry, the difference it makes. I have the feeling I'm inhibiting you understanding me. Sort of maybe distracted. Make sure you're breathing. All right. You come back to center. Let's come to our resting position. Anybody felt their butt? Isn't that amazing? Most people, it's so sad. They'll spend their whole life and never feel their butt. Since May, I've been eating mostly for ketosis. So you might say this style we yoga butter. And that we feel our gluteals more. It's yoga butter. There we go. Now you got it. It's not a good joke unless there's at least 2 entendres, whatever those are. And so this will be sort of a TED-style conversation, sort of 42nd Street Y, with 3 pretty important leaders here in the city. People that are up to interesting things, but more importantly, people who have actually thought their way into what they've created through inquiries. What if? They just ask the question, what if? And so we'll spend an hour or so talking, and then I'll feed you all. We'll have fully catered meal, live band, 2 ice creams. Did you hear me? There will be vanilla translations. And pistachio or pistachio mint. I haven't decided. 2 ice creams, people, and a big cake. Why the cake, you might ask? Because it's our 2nd anniversary party, which we postponed, and you guys deserve. It'll be fun. For those of you that didn't notice, this gentleman over in the corner, he'll be one of the speakers, Mr. Stephen Kaufman. He's more impressive than he looks, and he looks impressive. Let's drive those elbows in the floor. Can you roll the shoulder blades away from the ears? We tick-tock the head. We feel the neck. Can you shift all of your weight onto this left arm? If you trust your left shoulder, take your right arm up. If you don't trust your left shoulder, take your right arm up. And if that's immediately clear that that's a mistake, put your right hand down. Who cares that your right arm is up? This is not an obedience class. There's no bonus points. There's no yoga demerits for non-compliance. Can you roll their left scapula away from the left ear? Good. For those of you who have your right hand behind the back, make sure it's behind the back. You take a deep inhale, and then in one smooth movement, you straighten that left arm. That was cool, wasn't it? And then because the left arm is straight, you put the left elbow back down, then you straighten it, then you bend, then you straighten. You just do that a bunch until everybody sees that you did it. If your left arm is straight, I am extremely suspicious. Show me. Show me. Good. Second side. I didn't think so. Yeah, it works, doesn't it? It's so important. It's called an eccentric movement. There's two kinds of ways to work. As a matter of fact, if you're wanting to be a better sprinter, that's all fast twitch, power. And so it turns out that when you work eccentrically, it makes way more damage to the muscle. And you work all four kinds of fibers, you will get much more strong. It won't make you, but unfortunately, because you're focusing on all the fibers, it makes you a little slower. And so if you wanted to just focus on pure speed, and this is what sprinters now do, they've been trained by this one guy out of Colorado, you do the lift, and then you drop the weight. You don't slowly lower it. But it turns out that if you only slowly lowered it, it would get you stronger, faster, because it creates more damage. For those of you with your left hand behind the back, straighten your right arm. And then I'm waiting. I'm right here. No. No. I want you to push and fail. Everybody has their right elbow on the floor, and you push and fail. Put your right elbow on the floor and push and fail. And there's something emotional to this. Can you feel it? Don't put your left hand on the floor. Don't pick your elbow up. I mean it. Anybody want a peanut? Push. And when you push, there is something deep to that. Okay, good. Does anybody feel like close but no cigar? Was that a nod? Are you close but no cigar? Show me. And push. It just feels so right there, doesn't it? Okay. No. Keep pushing. Now, I'm not going to lift her up. I'm just going to push back. Push. Huh. Okay, try it again. Lower. Lower, lower, lower. And then push. Push. Yeah, you're not quite close. But you felt that. Did I lift you up? I lifted you? Yeah. I got her weight back. So that's actually one of the reasons you can't do this. You lack the strength to stabilize through it, but you also are not, your technique is weird. You're trying to do this. You're trying to go forward when that puts all the weight on on the one arm. That's crazy. So instead, when I push, so if you have tight hips, you're doomed. But if I can get my hips to go this way, everybody saw that? I went away from my elbow. I didn't use momentum. You still need triceps. You still need deltoids. You still need a stable shoulder. You still need hip flexors. You still need your back. But if you go this way, you're putting all the weight on your arm. I don't know why I can't do it. Two elbows. Which side felt stronger? And just try a couple pushes with one arm. With that idea in mind. Push back. Hips back. Woo! And now do two arms. And convince yourself you're on one arm. And you push with both. Push with both. Convince yourself you're on one arm. And just do 10. Unless your wrist is all messed up, then just do the best you can. Back. Yes. See if you can get your elbows up at the exact same moment. All the way to the floor. All the way straight. All the way to the... Thank you. That's not the same moment. Better. Okay, good. You got that, yeah? It's sort of helpful. At least the image is helpful. Everybody sees the direction. You see the direction? One silence for... Okay, good. So you get your two blocks. Let's take away your solution. I put the blocks in between my feet. Take my toes on the blocks. My toes are hanging out the front edge. Did you say before you tried it? Did I hear an audible No sirree. You're not going to make me do this dumb thing. I'm not an idiot. That's true. You are smart. I appreciate that. So you get your hands a little close. You bring your elbows to the floor. See if you can touch them at the exact same moment. If you can't, on the floor, please. To the floor. That means they're touching the floor. That's not the floor. To the floor. And if you can't straighten them, what do? You do our eccentric movement. It looks like this. Then you step off. You touch your knees down. You straighten your legs. You step on the block. You lower. Whee! And you step off. You go only down. Only down. Only slow. Not one at a time. Elbows touch at the same moment. If you're concerned that your face is going to hit the floor, you may be right. It's not at the same time, man. Same time. That's so almost to the floor, but see if they can go to the floor, which is lower than what you're doing. To the floor. Yeah, to the floor. Why aren't you going to the floor? This is weird. It's not going to the floor. This is the floor, and this is straight. Okay. Now, you step off the blocks. Convince yourself your hands are still on the block. Your feet are still on the block. Try it. Better, worse? Better, worse? It should be a little better. Now, does it mean it's easy? No, you're cooked. You're fried. You're weak. All those things are still true. You got it? Back. Call that a misfire. Yeah, that was good. Good, good, good. Okay, good. You guys got it. You got it, right? Okay, good. Good, 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 good. Good, 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 good. Hey, my feet are on the wall. That's cool, huh? Try that. That was neat. Make sure they're kind of low. Not quite, is maybe halfway between the hips and the hip height and the floor. And then start with your elbows on the floor so you don't die. Start with your elbows down. Step your feet up. And then push. And then notice how strange it is that your brain saw me do it. And had you not seen me do it, with that voice in your head saying it's impossible to be louder? Yeah, just you know it's impossible. But it turns out the only difference between you and me is my hips are stronger. At pulling my hips back, I'm doing the same thing. But now you can do it on a surface that doesn't want you. You can feel the slipperiness the lower you get your feet. Yeah, you felt the terrible idea it would be to even try to get the other elbow up. Okay, good. Let's come to standing, please. Swing your arms. Once you stand up, please do not pass out. If you have a tendency to lightheadedness, I strongly recommend you always tick-tock the head like so. No rotation, never throw your head back. If you're still lightheaded after tick-tocking, you bend your knees, you get your head down below the heart. Don't mess with that. Concussions are a real thing. They compound. They get worse with every repetition. It is a very strong correlation to depression, suicidal ideation. It's a problem. It messes with your brain. Do you remember that was he a quarterback? Oregon football quarterback. Got like a 5th concussion as a freshman at the University of Oregon. And then he got arrested for armed robbery. You remember that? And he's like, I don't know. Like he was like a straight A student, like perfectly normal kid. He like joined a gang. He's like, I can't tell you why I did that. You become irrational. We need to protect our brain. This includes sleeping. You want to ruin your life, get crappy sleep. So we feel the blood sort of collecting in the hands. I have this sort of nice arc. So I'm actually doing to my arms what I was trying to do to my leg. Right? I was trying to swing the leg freely, trying to get blood and into the leg, trying to get the hip joint nice and open. Can I feel that with the shoulders? Now, there's a little bit of a space issue, and for those of you, it's not going to be perfectly straight up. There will be an outward movement, and we want to do it slowly to begin. Slowly to begin. So, yeah, you really want to make sure you can't hit the wall, you can't hit your neighbor. Yeah. If that feels good, try faster. I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna fly. Anyway, feel the draft? That was a lot, right? Okay. So you're going from the front, aren't you? Right, like a back butterfly, like a backwards breaststroke, right? And now we go regular butterfly from the back. This is the one you can dislocate your shoulders. So start slow. So yeah, we go down and back, then up and over the top, like you're face down swimming. Yeah, if that feels bad, consider that your shoulders are tight. Might I recommend? I never know to instruct this before, to not chicken your head. Just keep your head nice and neutral. Don't chicken your. Okay, yeah, it feels stuck, doesn't it? It's like bonk, and then it goes around bonk. How do you get movement? How do you get movement without ripping your own arms off? Your arms are designed to do that. You just forgot to do it for a while. Now, I have to warn you, if you do it with one arm in public, people will make rock sounds. Like they will see that in their head. They will ruthlessly make fun of you. Now feel your hands. Look at that, hypercolor. It's like there's blood in there. It's the opposite of death, circulation. Right? You ever see a white part? You ever see an appendage and it's white and it doesn't change color when you push on it? You need to be really concerned. And the problem is when you touch most 90-year-olds' hands and feet, they're cold for a reason. There's no circulation. And they slowly die. It's a form of death. It's premature death. Okay, so our hands are awake. Shoulders are a little alive. You want to be mindful. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can rip. And so I was going really hard, but I have contortionistic shoulder mobility. And so if you want to learn how to play a musical instrument, you learn slow. Don't just get in there and learn fast. And so you would play with smooth and slow movements. Can you keep your shoulders down? If you want to practice this at home, just like you can actually practice your jumps, you can actually get better at jumping technique by moving slowly. If you want to get, to get these arm movements when I was a skater, I spent hours doing this. Just to coordinate these movements. That looks cool, doesn't it? It did not look cool for the first year. Okay, so now let's coordinate the power in your feet. Can I feel it translate through my body, through the spine, through the floor? Two-legged jump. Touch. And silent touch on the floor. Hands on the green line. If you can't make it up today, what do you work on? You just work on jumping. Don't worry about getting up. If you can't get up, that's because you're a normal person in an abnormally difficult class. Smooth, deep inhales. Let's see here. Last two jumps. And we come to standing. When you come to standing, when you swing your arms, check out your neck this time. If you work with your arms overhead, down dog handstands, with your arms straight, it will go into your neck. 100%. Any of you carry any tension in your neck? No? Okay, and so there's nothing wrong with that. You will recruit upper trapezius and levator scapulae. You will, for sure. You can't not. We need to be responsible for it, and so every time we come out, whether you're swinging your arms or not, you're not trying to stretch your neck like a crazy person. You're just getting into it. You're noticing what you did. You're responsible for what you did. Okay, so that was 15 jumps maybe 20 if you were fast. Did anybody feel like their arms worked kind of well? Like you could actually feel the floor? Like maybe you could actually feel your butt flying through the air, and you could feel that there's mass to your butt, and that mass has to translate through your shoulders. Okay, so let's work on verticality. Feet together, arms up, heels up. Now see if you can have your feet together and then squeeze your ankles together. See your, yeah. Let's see. You can see your arm? Okay, there we go. Yep. She's concerned. We breathe. Now, I'm curious, have you ever looked in a mirror in this kind of position? This is your homework assignment always. Are your arms straight? Definitely not. Are your arms vertical? Even definitely notter. Totally. Your arms are not straight and they're not vertical. So, of course, that you can't do it with the weight of your arms. What do you expect your arms are going to look like when you have the weight of your body? Okay, so now how do we recreate that? You notice I'm going to put my hands on the green line. That's 18 inches off the wall. Look how accurate I am. So I have one foot on the wall, I have my knees together, and one foot up. If I have my hands on the green line, everybody's shin's length are different, and my knees are together, this leg will be mostly vertical. If I have this heel on the wall, can this leg possibly be vertical? Not if my arms are vertical. I would have to do something like this for my leg to be vertical, and I'm really not balanced. So I'm trying to get my arms vertical, hips over the arms, and leg over the hips. And now the only thing that's not vertical is my shin. And here's what you want to do. You're trying to hop, and here's what I want. I want you to actually grip your fingertips in the floor, try to punch holes in the mat. Squeeze your elbows in, and then how do you shift your body weight away so it's just barely touching? There's no bounce. Maybe you can begin to slide your toe on the wall, and eventually the foot comes off the wall, and you balance. And if your knees are together and your feet are together, they'll be more or less over the green line. Show me. This is what the green line is for. It's for you to begin to train verticality. Get up with one leg. If you can't get up today, just turn around. We come in a down dog on the wall. If it's too much on your wrists, you do it on elbows. It's okay. We breathe. Don't look at me. Just breathe. Good. You're actually jumping enough. Let that right leg follow through as you jump. Just so the left leg swings and feel that. If you actually let the right leg come up too, you'll be up. Yes. Yeah. Make sure that your hips are going enough. Last breath. Okay, this time you put one finger on the wall, please. I have one finger on the wall, my feet are together. If you didn't make it up, there's nothing wrong with that. I've spent long periods not being able to do everything in yoga because I would get hurt. And so consider that if you get injured. Anybody been to rehab for any injury, any pre-surgery, post-surgery? No rehab? Yeah, okay. Now, those are pretty simple movements, weren't they? You go to rehab, they simplify whatever it is they're trying to train you to do. Nobody's asking you to do this in rehab. It's all they simplify it. Right? Totally. It's all simple movements. What if you did the simple movements before you got hurt? What if you trained simplicity first before you ever tried to do complexity, and then we might not get hurt? So it's okay. Put a finger on the wall. If you can't do the thing, just enjoy that you can't do it now. You'll be able to do it soon, and then you'll be dissatisfied. Humans are weird. So I got a finger on the wall. My feet are together. You pick your heels up. With your heels up, can my head be up? You push the head way up, super up. And now close your eyes. Ankles together. Whoa. Isn't that interesting? Whoa. You feel the twitch of the feet, don't you? But there's a feel, there's a tone to the body, and there's a feel of work of your balance. Your legs aren't like really working, but they're doing work. And there's all kinds of stuff that's adjusting for the fact that you have a tiny little footprint when your heels are out. Last 2 breaths. Can you do this by feel? In the beginning, the answer is, no. Okay. You open your eyes, you come back to the room. Okay, you get a block. Don't kill yourself stepping on the block. The block does not want you on it. Woo, just like that. I'm going to squash my feet together, so they're super squished, all the way together. And then you close your eyes. If the room starts spinning, please keep your eyes open. But if you can, feet all the way together, eyeballs covered with your eyelids. And there's that same kind of sway, but there's more of a conspicuous twitch now, isn't there? Relax your arms first. Feel the weight of your arms hang. First, be taller. Keep your eyes closed. See if you can take your arms up to vertical, like a handstand. Can you lock your elbows? Can your arms be straight and vertical? And can you tell that if you start thinking about the Muller report, you're out? If you get distracted by anything, you might even get distracted by feeling your feet. It'll make you fall out. Andrew, it seems like you've really been mulling that over. Definitely, I haven't been mulling it more than most people. I've done as much as, I'm not the most. I've definitely mulled it more than most people. You might even say, I've mullered it, but I'm not mullist. Thank you. Thank you. I come back to the room. Consider you just connected your nervous system to the task of balance. There's a feel to it. Back to the room. 2 blocks. One finger on the bottom of the block. I'm balancing it now. I'm looking at you, but I'm balancing it. Woo. You can use your feet. You can move around. Just don't whack anybody in the face. Control. Control. If your blocks haven't hit the ground yet, you are playing it safe. Good. Good, good, good. Again, if your blocks haven't hit the ground yet, you haven't been knocked over by your neighbor. Okay. Now, everybody, I've just given you a toy. I understand. But stop for a moment. I'm going to let you do this again. I'm going to let you do it again, but I'm not taking away the toy. See? Okay. Eyeballs over here. Watch. Now, how am I doing this without looking at it? So I'm looking at you, but I'm balancing it. And you guys know. You guys know. Well, so why can I do this? Yeah. You can't do this because you had friends growing up. And I can do this because this is what I did when I was 9 and 10. Okay, so if you go ahead and watch the top of my block, and if I focus enough, I can almost make it look like the top of the block's not moving. Now look at my hand. Don't read into what finger I chose. My hand is like a twitchy mess. It's like over-caffeinated. The more I twitch, the more still the block is. Now, watch what happens the instant I stop. The instant I stop twitching, it's over. So this is actually a quite twitchy anticipatory act, but where you look is important. So you look at the top, the very top. So have it low. I lifted it so you can see this is the hardest way to balance. You look at the top and you make your hand twitchy, but not so twitchy you make the blocks break apart. That's why we use 2. In addition, that it's easier than 1. If you don't believe me, try 1. Look at the very top. Focus on the very top. Crush the top with your attention. And then every once in a while, notice you're not breathing. Good. Breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. This is so good. I wish I was recording this. This is great. Oh, whoa. Saved your neighbor. If it hasn't hit the ground yet, you're playing it safe. You're catching it with the other hand instead of committing. Now, don't think about this. Do not think about this. Put your hands on the green line. Kick up. Check out your balance. If you haven't been able to get up, you just kick. You just enjoy your kicks. And just try to feel your balance. Don't forget to breathe. Nice. Oh, it's so close. It's so good. That's so great. Look at that. That's good. How's that? Anyone have a little surprising moment? If you didn't, clearly you haven't gotten my instruction. There's something wrong with you. But it actually looks pretty good. Anybody have a moment? Looks like you had a moment. Yeah. So consider that you will not consciously balance anything. Your balance is an autonomic nervous system function. Right? So you're not, like, the parts of the nervous system we're dealing with are not conscious. They're not. You're so relaxed. You ready? Okay, you ready? That. You see your face? We got triple chin. Ah! Let me try that again. Try that again. I'm going to get this time. Oh, almost. Okay. So balancing one block is way harder. So if you don't want any friends, you know, friends are overrated. That's a cool trick, isn't it? It's worth it. It's worth it. Okay, so when you're on your feet, what do you balance with? Your feet. Now you can balance with everything else, but if you have to balance with everything else, then you're not free when you're in positions where everything else is occupied. Right? If I'm in this position, I can't balance with my hips and arms. I have to balance with the footprint. So if I learn how to balance with the footprint in these positions, in these upright positions, I have some freedom. What's your footprint when you're on your hands? Ugh. Ugh. You got to balance with these little weak things. Remember that jar of pickles that defeated you? That I got defeated by an IBC root beer one time. Like, come on. And then I finally won. I won. The glass broke. Literally, I couldn't drink it because I shattered the glass. Yeah. Okay, so how do you wake your hands up? Well, that's a long and arduous process. It's a multi-year process to get your hands strong enough. But the nervous system is what's twitching them, which means you have to feel that your body's moving. So as the block is flying to you, right, it's a special kind of consciousness. It's not like, I'm going to slow time down and watch this block fly at me and then get my hands up and position my body to catch it in a safe way. It's completely autonomic. And that's what we're using. So how do you get present? Anybody know what we use to get present? You know. You have a B. That's a B sound. Breathing, that's right. Yeah, so everybody inhale. We're going to do this one more time and then go to our back bends. So let your arms hang by your side. You remember what it felt like to balance, that sort of twitchy aliveness. If you're wondering what the attention feels like, what kind of attention do you use, my favorite image is you imagine your cat, a hungry cat, looking at a mouse hole, waiting. And I don't know if you've ever seen a mouse come out of a hole in the wall. It's so fast, you're like, what was that? Right? So if you're a cat, you have to be ready. Right? You got your little shoulder blades. You're ready. You're primed. And so your body's primed, but you can actually be relaxed. Let's take 2 deep inhales. Feel the weight of your arms hang. Make this last inhale even slower, even inhalier. Even more, a little bit more. Open your throat. Keep your throat wide open as you exhale. That means it'll be quiet. Okay. And just for fun, don't switch gears. As a matter of fact, as you turn to put your hands on the green line for the last time for our handstands, try to take a nap. Can your face relax? So what if you touch the wall? See if you can balance off. Hey, look at that. That's good. Yeah. Good. And so now you're not jumping this way enough. So you go where your butt goes. When you jump into handstands, you're really trying to get your butt to the wall. And so for you, it's going to feel like you're trying to let yourself fall backwards. There's a couple more. Feel the difference? Yeah, just let yourself fall. Chances are you won't die. There's still some likelihood, but yeah, you can feel how the hips don't want to go. Yeah, that's good. That hang time is what we're after. We come onto our back pretty please with our head touching the wall. So we're on our back, face up. If you can be on your back face down, I'd be very impressed. We slide our feet flat with our head touching the wall. Don't whack your head as you lie back. So the top of my head's touching the wall. I'm all ready for my back bends. Some of you are not ready. Just not ready. We're actually going to take 2 thumbs up. We're going to touch our thumbs to the floor straight out from our shoulders. Straight out on the floor. Now open your hands, point your fingers straight away from one another. It's okay, yeah, just work it out. And straight out from the shoulders. So there's your shoulders. If you drew a line through your shoulders, that would basically be through the green line. Right, so thumbs in line with the shoulders. Yeah. Now push your elbows up, flip your hands in a bad waiter. This isn't your back bend hands. Elbows push away from the floor as you try to flip your hands flat, straight out from the shoulders. Some of you are thinking you know what I'm instructing, except I'm instructing this. My hands are straight out from the shoulders, straight out. That's up. Out. Now open. Now try to get your hands flat as you push your elbows up. It's bad waiter on the floor. How do you get your elbows higher? How do you get, if your hands don't flip flat, what's wrong with you? Fingers straight out, and then hands a little wider and lower. Now try to push your elbows up. That's the sound. I would, if you can get them flat, I would go lower and then elbows press up. That's the face. This should be somewhere between stuck and torture. Last breath. Good. You shake it out. Yeah. Good. It's not that inventive. There's my business card for the past 3 years has had my hand in that position. That's so like 2001, guys. Come on now. This is not new. Okay. Now, it turns out that will help you now get your hands as flat as they can under the shoulders and then get them wider than you think. It's the same movement, it's just not quite as extreme. So this is like a bad waiter. See if you can get your pinkies and ring fingers off the edge of the mat. You squeeze your elbows in. See if you can press up. And of course, with this first press up, we try to straighten our legs, try to straighten our arms. Hips press high. Can the shoulders roll away from the ears? Can I get the shoulders away from the spine? That means they're actually trying to move away from one another somehow. There's 2 things that do that. If I can get any sensation near the underarm, I'm happy. For you. If you can get sensation. Nice. Yes. Okay, now what's stopping you from straightening your legs? If somebody was standing on your pelvis, how would you push them straight up? Don't be afraid if I'm standing near you. I'm not going to do that. If my wife was here, I would have her stand on my pelvis. I do back bend push-ups, and you would all go like, what? Be so impressive. Good. You shake it out. Good, good, good. You felt that in the wrists. Chances are your shoulders weren't able to go towards the wall. That's also normal. You spread the hands as wide as you can. Wiggle those fingers. Now, normal adult brain says, these feelings you're having in your back can't possibly be good. But remember, if your back doesn't function particularly well, you know that pithy saying that of all the crappy relationships you've had in your life, you're the common denominator? You heard that? Yeah. That's a really big insight. That's a big insight. And you can actually apply it to your health. All your health problems, you were present. Consider that you actually might be the biggest problem to your health in your understanding of how the spine works and your willingness to sort of gravitate to some sensations over others. So don't necessarily, I'm not saying to distrust, I'm saying don't necessarily trust what you think feels right. Be curious. And the moment you just put a little bit of curiosity there, it might actually open up the next thing that is the breakthrough. You are not doomed to back pain, spinal instability. You're not born like that. And regardless of your issue, it's possible to be pain-free. Unless you're doomed, and you're always going to be in pain. But that's extraordinarily rare. I've trained 4 paraplegics, 1 quadriplegic, and it can get much worse than whatever it is you have. And with that said, the worst conditions I've ever seen can get better. I have 2 people with advanced Parkinson's. All this stuff makes them feel better. And they're doomed. It's never going to get better. It's only going to get worse. And yet they get to feel better. So that's why we're here. So be curious. We got just enough time. Let's do 5. For those of you curious, as you press up, maybe, you can straighten your arms, straighten your legs, and get your chest to the wall. And then you come down. For those of you feeling exceptionally strong today, when you come down, only touch your butt to the floor. Don't touch head and shoulders. Keep head and shoulders off the floor. Just touch your butt. Good. Yay. When you try to only touch your butt, notice how heavy your head is. Man, getting quadruple chin. This is intense. Hands are getting narrow. Yeah. No, you haven't. You're doing it with your lower back, but your shoulders look great. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. For some of you, 5 is too many, so just do 5. However many you do, stop at 5. I saw that. So you slept 8. You just like you wake up eating the ice cream. Okay, now we have some strong people in the room, and I want to give you guys a chance to just do the cool thing. We're going to press into one last back bend. Walk your hands up the wall to standing, which means you have to be pretty close. You got to get your feet close, your hands close. If you get concerned, use your words before you are too far in the danger zone. If you get lightheaded when you stand up, tick-tock the head. You've got one dude. One dude. I'll take it. Walk your feet in. Walk your feet in. Okay. Yeah. If you can get one hand up, it's not that bad. Oh, you got to get closer. Walk closer. Closer, closer, closer. Yeah. Everything gets closer. Yeah. Yeah, closer. Yeah, sorry. Get closer! Walk your feet closer. Now put one hand really high. There you go. You press up. Stressed it. That's the hardest back bend, by the way. Standing back bend. It's the one where all the weight's on your feet. That's the last one we learn. So don't be hard on yourself if that just felt like, no. Yeah, because it's a no. Now, instead of the thing with your back against the wall, take your hands by your side. Point your thumbs out, point your thumbs back, and then continue the movement. Try to touch your hips with your thumbs. Now, if you had an acupuncture needle in your biceps, try to point the needle back. Try to keep turning your arms. See if you can get a cramp in the meat between the triceps and the scapula. Yeah. Now take your arms behind you. Try to touch your thumbs together. See, continuing the rotation, trying to point your biceps up, back behind you. And my favorite part, don't hit the wall. If you can't make it the 21st or the 11th, we will be live streaming with the 3 big cameras that we use for the video website. It's going to be a beautiful production. We'll be recording the audio for on both of those events for a podcast. But I can't save cake for you. May 11th is the big event. When you guys are healthy, this city is like totally upgraded. You remember the first time you heard KUHF or walked to the Buffalo Bayou Park? Yeah, it's like, wow, Houston doesn't only poison its residents. This is kind of nice. It's like, huh, I'm from Houston. I grew up in Houston. And so when I look at it, and I know the difference it makes when you guys are healthy in your businesses, in your family. So thank you. I know it takes something. Thank you for your trust, for your commitment. High fives all around. If you haven't signed in, catch me over here. If you're tuning in online, love you guys. Okay, awesome. Yeah, okay. Did it work? Yeah, look at that. Boop. You guys, Sarah, Christina, Jennifer. Hobson. When, well, hand strength. Well, it's cold. Well, you wouldn't be grabbing. Yeah, it's for this hand. It's for this hand. So you straighten your arm. That arm. And now try to crush your thumb hard. Fingertips and thumb. No, yeah, that's the face. Yeah. It's like on the wrong side. Really? Oh, that's so great. Cool. Welcome back. Yes, I'm excited. We just double, triple confirmed. Okay. Wow. 1:30. 11 and 12 o'clock. Yeah. For what? MindBody has